offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love.
Welcome back to New Day. Last night, Glee aired an emotional tribute to late star Corey Monteith. He played lovable jock Finn Hudson on the hit show until his death in July from a heroin and alcohol overdose. AJ Hammer joins us live this morning. Of course, he's the host of HLN's Showbiz Tonight. It is your New Day debut, so good to have you here, AJ.
It's nice to be here, guys. Thank you.
So we've heard from some of our producers who were up late watching the show, talking about the fact that they cried the entire time. Really emotional. Have you heard other fan reaction to the episode?
Well, there wasn't a dry eye in my house for sure, and the fans have really been reacting in that way, as you would expect. Everybody pretty much unanimously agrees that they handled this really, really tough subject matter, obviously, perfectly and as best as they could. It was gut-wrenching, it was heart-wrenching, it was emotional throughout. There was some humor in it, of course, but I think what they really accomplished here, and the fans are reacting to this, is fans felt included.
Interesting.
You know, we didn't have a chance to say goodbye to either Corey or Finn. We weren't at the funeral, and looking through the prism of a fan myself, I really felt like I was a part of something and felt a little connected. But I do think if you had watched this episode last night, having never seen Glee, knowing nothing about Corey Monteith or Finn, you would have been drawn. It was quite powerful.
No, they didn't address how Corey Monteith or Finn died. They just left that out there. I wonder, you know, without being preachy, if it was a missed opportunity for the legions of Glee fans out there, that maybe they missed a chance to send a message about drugs.
Well, I think people are saying that this morning. I actually think it would have been very tough to work it into the plot line of the show because there really was no context for that for Finn's character. But they made this decision, instead of doing that, let's honor him. There'll be time for those kinds of things, but they really did not address how Finn, the character, died either. In fact, I'll show you how they sort of didn't address it in the show, if we could take a look at that.
Everyone wants to talk about how he died too, but who cares? One moment in his whole life. I care more about how he lived, and anyone who has a problem with that should remember that he was my brother.
Yeah.
Well, for family, that is a constant struggle. You know, this is an interesting discussion. Why? Because the top layer is the emotion of just dealing with loss. You have a very young audience. It's a sensitive subject for them because of how they deal with it. But then you get into the addiction aspect of this. For the family, that perspective is exactly right. There's so much intense focus of let's remember this person at their best. But then you have for everybody else as a community, and what do you want to send as a message? The good thing is that it's out there. It wasn't hidden.
Yeah.
It wasn't hidden. So in at least that way, there's something out there about it.
I think they really needed to do this for the fans, as I said, to honor Corey. And that's what Ryan Murphy, the creator of the show, said he wanted to accomplish. And I think he did, all the way through.
Now let's talk about behind the scenes. The cast, we know, was very tight-knit. They've worked together for several seasons. Some of them were teenagers themselves, having grown up on that set. I can imagine it was very difficult to come together and even record that episode.
Incredibly difficult, and of course, remember, Leah Michelle was also his real-life girlfriend. But think about also how the crew was affected. Ryan Murphy said when they were filming this episode, he's never seen a crew leave the room sobbing. And what they did, and I think this was very evident when you watch the show, they used the first takes of many of these performances that we saw because they were so raw and so real. And I think that's one of the reasons that we felt so connected to it last night.